So hi, my name is Cujo. I've been reading A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and I'm going through the part of the book right now where he talks a lot about ego. I wanted to try to explain how the ego functions in the best way that I can, and I'm just going to basically go down a list of notes that I made from the book and then maybe just kind of wing my thoughts on them. So ego is a comparison or a relation to things or people or things outside of you. So any story that starts with I, like I am this or I am that, or identification with something is the ego speaking. And this isn't to demonize the ego in any way. I actually think that it's just a part of our makeup. It actually helps us survive as a species where we are at right now because of the way we're wired and our survival based off of each other. I think it's just a happenstance, an ancient thing that we have right now in terms of like comparing ourselves to others and to gain status and just security. But as things get more and more accessible, like it's just not something that we need. And I think we might potentially evolve to a point where we progressively lose our egos, but it is definitely not in my time. I'm going to be long dead before that happens. Awareness is a hard concept to describe because it is just the beingness of you or existing in the current moment, listening to this, looking at your computer or phone, and just feeling the sensations in your body and the room or the nature, wherever you're at, all of that around you. So normally the ego is a narrative spinning in your head or what it's trying to spin in your head. And if you're aware of that narrative, then the narrative kind of falls apart. Like if you're avoiding your taxes and stressed about that, and then you look at a piece of art in your room and then really pay attention to the art with just your beingness, then the problem can fade away, which you should pay your taxes. But that was just an example. So awareness and ego can't coexist. Like if you're aware that your ego is saying something, then the awareness takes over and the ego kind of shatters in the face of that. When you experience grievance or a loss of things, that is also the ego. Grievance can be harbored in the being. And if you resent someone and there's a lot of emotion balled up inside of you, over time, it'll grow and grow when you interact with that, and it just makes the ego and the sense of self grow more and more. Like if you're in a victim mentality and you've basically watered that part of your mind for so long, it'll just grow and grow until it becomes louder and louder. And then you need things to counteract that narrative, and awareness is a good way to counteract that. Watching your thoughts almost in like a third person, like this thought is arising right now, but this is not me. This is just my mind spinning me a thought. And everything I'm saying here is like, it's really abstract. There's no real way to point at this other than like Eastern teachings. So something that I need to accept and other people need to accept is that this could be entirely wrong or it's entirely right. It's both. Like both things can coexist. So like the teachings that I'm talking about here, they're right in one perspective and they're definitely wrong in other perspectives. But both things coexist. Like I'm right to some people and I'm wrong to some people. And it's not really like that I am right or that I am wrong. Like both things coexist with each other. I am both right and wrong. I remember I learned about that concept from Rick Rubin. When making art, there's no real right or wrong when you're making art. Like the art is just art. It just is. And it's the same with you. Like you just are. So normally if we're defending a perspective and we're really caught up in the thing of me or I, that is an emotion-based, egoic perspective, and it's not the truth. The truth and facts are unmoving. They don't care how you feel about them. The facts are just objective. Like if I had like $50 in my bank account, I have $50 in my bank account. It's not really a good or bad thing. Like it's just where I'm at currently in the point in time of my life. I do have more than $50 in my bank account. Hard flex, get flexed out. I don't know. Yeah. But you know, I could lose the money that I have. It's not really a good or bad thing. It just is the story. It's just how my life happens. It could be a blessing. It could be a financial devastation if I end up having $50 or $0. So when you're looking at facts, you kind of just need to look at a fact without holding a perspective or having a perspective but having distance from it, accepting that this is not me, like the perspective is not me. So in terms of spirituality and religion, if you take the same perspective, the truth that we do know in terms of religion or in terms of spirituality is that we're here when we're conscious beings. If you want to attach whatever it is, like Buddhism says the Buddha, some people will say God or the universe, but all of these different religious concepts kind of point to a duality of being. We're driven by our primate natural instincts, but then a consciousness to choose our actions. And both of these things exist inside of us. And normally, like, the godliness or the universe or consciousness inside of you chooses the action. And then you have like primate drivers, and you like to eat, sleep, procreate, experience like emotion and fear and happiness and all of that type of stuff. But religions, they can all point to this, but the moment that you make a religion a core part of your identity is also the ego, interestingly. So in order to be the most like godly or universe thing is actually to not hold any particular religious belief. There's aspects of each belief that you can take and find the truth in, but they all kind of talk about the same thing or all point to the same thing, just in different ways. Like obviously the story of Buddha and the story of Jesus, they're completely different in terms of the details, but the discoveries that they come across are actually almost exactly the same. Like Jesus came to the same conclusions that Buddha did. Not to make this a whole religious talk. I'm just wanting to talk about the ego. So I think any religion, if you are religious and hold a particular perspective, that is completely fine. Just once you have your identity wrapped up inside of your religion, it becomes like a paradox, because if you look at like the old Catholic Church, they killed people. Was it the Catholic or the Christian Church? Okay, don't quote me on this. This might entirely be wrong. One of those churches, but I think it might have been Catholicism. But in the span of spreading that, if you didn't believe in the Catholic Church, they would burn you at a stake or torture you until you just said you believed in the church, which is like extremely ungodly. And then not being able to hold space for different beliefs is like very primate. It's very ego-based. If other people don't think like me, there's like the word me, then they deserve to suffer. I need to change their mind. But anyway, I'm going to move on from that. But that's how that points to the ego. That's how religion can become ego-based. So another aspect of the ego appearing is, okay, say I'm someone in school. I'm going to use actually one of my friends as an example. One of my friends, he would get called annoying throughout school, and this really, really bothered him. And to try to comfort him, I talked to him about this concept where if a person is criticizing you or they don't like you, then they are rejecting an aspect of themselves that you are showing to them. How can I explain this better? Like, say I'm getting bothered because someone in my class is annoying me. Like, I also need to remember in that moment, show them compassion, because in my humanness, I am fully capable of annoying other people with the actions and the things that I choose to do. So if I get pissed at someone for being annoying, and I choose to act off of that annoyance and react to the emotion that I'm feeling, basically that's the ego flaring up. It's a relationship thing where if I perceive the person to be separate from me, I will act from my ego and claim that they're annoying, or claim that I don't like when this person gets angry or sad, because these are all parts of the human condition. Like, I'm fully capable of doing the same things. Same if you don't like people who cheat, like you as an individual are fully capable of cheating. Not saying that you're going to, but you're a human who is fully capable of doing that. So if something arises, I think that there's more to learn about yourself and show compassion to that part of yourself. Because the further along you get with that, you realize that everybody really is just one being. Like, we all experience the same suffering, the same emotions, and we're just souls or witnesses of the human experience. So if you're able to show compassion with the person in that moment and compassion with yourself, you become closer to a unified existence with the people around you and the universe at large. The very interesting thing about the ego is the ego chooses to resist states to take care of them, but when you resist certain states, you only create a stronger resistance. Like, say I don't like my family or I don't like my parents. If I continually strengthen that belief and then I resist anything that happens when I come around them, I become more ego-based and mind-based when I'm around them. And the cure for that is to accept that things happened in the past. I'm going to do what I can with what I know in the present and not let the past affect my relationships with the people around me. So actually the way out of suffering from that is accepting that, yeah, maybe this situation is shit, that it sucks, but this is my life, and you just accept it for what it is and make a decision of what can I change and what can I not change. That really puts a peace and ease to a circumstance that a person finds themselves in, and you become a better person to be around when you do that. And I think the witness in you, it wants peace, and the ego wants drama. I feel like this is the simplest way to put it. Like your ego, maybe you don't necessarily think that, like, no, my ego wants peace, but the ego actively searches for things to be upset about or angry about, because that's how the ego inside of you survives. Like if you're outraged about stuff, you're motivated to change or to do things, but it can spiral into a thing where you just become miserable and resent everything. So if you can find action with peace, this is like the balance between the two, is like the ego has a function, but the function is really to just ensure your survival, and it's not you. Like the you-ness in you is the person witnessing the things happening around you in this current moment when you're listening to this. Maybe the last thing I can say about this, because I've been sitting here recording this for quite a while, for me anyway, for my standards. There's like hour-long YouTubers out here. I don't know how they do it. This is also, this is my favorite example. Change is a constant. Like where I am right now is not where I was in the past and not where I'm going to be in the future with anything. My body, the things I'm thinking, everything about me, except one thing is going to change. And that is the person who is experiencing the life around me or witnessing what's going on, the beingness. That's the only constant that has made me, and you. It is the sense of I am, the person that drinks the tea, tastes the tea, witnesses that, and then moves on to the next thing like a flow of a river. But yeah, you're not your body, you're not your ego, you're not any of these things except the witness inside of you. I have no idea how spiritual teachers or yogis or anybody talk about this type of stuff. I'm finding it so hard and feel like I'm running in circles because it's such a hard thing to teach. But this is my understanding of the ego. The ego isn't bad, and we shouldn't resist the ego. The way that we solve the ego is just being aware that, oh, this is my ego, and just awareness of the thoughts and the things around you. And the stronger your awareness grows, oh, this is the thought I'm having, oh, this is the thing that I'm doing, the stronger that your beingness and your presence grows, and the people around you, when that happens, will grow to love you more and more. You'll just have a more abundant life if you don't identify with the ego, because the ego thinks through scarcity and comparison, and the spiritness or the beingness of you is abundant, and there's so much around you at all times. So I would just want people to be happy, really, or not happy, but content with their lives and at peace with just the doing of their life and the being of their life. So yeah, that's me trying to talk about the core to our ego. I would really recommend, if you want to dig more into this, to get A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is a very intelligent teacher, and he seems like he embodies these concepts to a T, what he writes about. And he seems like he has a high quality of experience. And from trying to apply the practices that a lot of spiritual teachers and Eckhart Tolle point to, I think that the quality and just existing in my life is infinitely more rich. Like I'm doing these videos or making music or just the doing of life, I'm just a lot more present and aware of what's going on and in flow state, and I feel like I'm at one with this microphone or me talking or just the room that I'm in. It's just all come together to make a very beautiful moment, basically. So if you have any questions, just let me know, please, because I would love to answer any questions about this concept. I love you. The universe loves you. God loves you. Whatever you want to call it. I just ate some chicken right before this, in case you wanted to know. It was pretty good chicken. Thank you to all the people who subscribed from the healthy masculinity video that I made last week. I'd worked on that for a few months, so it really warms my heart to see people messing with it. Make me so happy. So thank you very much. But normally I do these commentaries on the channel in between me working on stuff, so if people enjoy them, it makes me happy. I enjoy making them, and I probably won't stop for the time being. We'll see. I try to treat everyone like it's the last one I'm going to make. So seriously, thank you for taking the time to watch this. I'm going to go make some more stuff, live some more life, and I would encourage for you to do the same. Like I said, I love you, and goodbye now.
I'm a teller, I'm a teller, I'm a teller, I'm a teller. I'm a teller, I'm a teller, I'm a teller, I'm a teller.
Like I said, I love you, and goodbye now. That was bad.